I'm here talking with Fadi Haddad. Fadi is the Director of Analytics for Brightree. And Fadi, you recently did a podcast with us about revenue cycle management, and then we also talked about analytics. And I guess maybe a good place to start is, why are analytics important in the HME world?
Man, that's a loaded question.
Okay.
So why are they important? Plenty of reasons why. I mean, for one, you really want to be able to have good visibility into your business, being able to find out, right, where are my areas of opportunity, where am I doing well in, maybe where can I expand into as well. And having, an analytics tool or a software, a powerful one, will allow you to do that, right? And when we say analytics, I guess there's a definition behind it, right? A lot of people look at analytics and say, well, yeah, we do analytics today, but it's an Excel document, right? It's a series of pivot tables or various lookups that are being done. That's a part of analytics. It's a beginning part. I'd say it's kind of par for the course.
Okay.
And then you kind of move into more of your advanced type analytics, where now you're able to really take these billions of data points and be able to drill in, dive into them, and actually start getting insights. So move from the trend, go to the actual insights. I'd say.
Yeah, and it's funny because when you said that, I started thinking about all the data that providers collect now.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're using billing systems like Brightree, and they're collecting all this information and all this data. It's got to be like drinking from a fire hose. How do you find the sense in it? So I can see instantly why analytics tools would be something a provider could really depend on, because they need to make sense out of this mass of information.
Right, yeah, absolutely. It's not just making sense of it but it's also being able to distill it down and really kind of get to that unified source of truth. So even if you're distilling this information and you're looking at it and you're combing through all the muck, if you will, all those data points, you need to make sure you have a common sense of what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not just what you're looking at, but this is what we're striving for as well, but to be able to look at those benchmarks throughout the industry.
Okay, so I guess what's happening is they're sort of creating a single source of truth with all this, and being able to perceive that truth, with the analytics. And then what do they do next? How do they, what's the next step, I guess?
So the next step from there is, once you've defined your single source of truth, is you want to see, what other data points can I bring in, right? Just strictly looking at the data, not processed or anything, but what else can I bring in to enrich my data set? So now I've gone through, and we'll use an example that we use with revenue cycle management of like your day sales outstanding.
Okay.
So, I've now
common
identified,
metric, right?
yeah, very common metric. Yeah. It's a key one to look at as well. And maybe we've identified we're at 25 days sales outstanding.
Getting on it.
That's not too bad, but we know the benchmark is actually around 15. It's kind of what you're really striving for.
Yeah.
So you got to, where can you pick it up?
Yeah.
And from there, analytics can help you identify that. So it's allowing you to drill in by payers, right? Maybe drill in by your branches, your locations, maybe by user, right? What are those different levels that you can slice into to identify where your opportunities are, where your successes are, and then from there, with that kind of third-party data that can come in, what else can you layer into this? Is there other demographic information you can bring in? Something we do with Brightree is we do industry benchmarking. So, not only will you be able to see that 25-day sales outstanding, but you can see where you stack up against, the industry, right? Are you in the 6th percentile, the 2nd percentile? That's a key component. Because if you continuously look at your own performance, you kind of get data blind, is what I like to call it.
That makes sense.
So, right, you're seeing I'm growing, I'm doing well, my DSOs are dropping, but 25 to 23 is a good decline, but the benchmark's 15. Yeah. How do we get you to 15?
Yeah, and if you didn't have that frame of reference,
you had no idea.
Yeah.
Exactly, you're only as good as you can see, as you perceive.
So, where's the industry at now, and where's the rest of healthcare at now when it comes to analytics? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Taking your idea of comparing yourself to the rest of the world.
Right.
How are we doing?
I think there's opportunity.
Okay.
I do think there's opportunity. There's some really amazing things being done. I've seen some pretty phenomenal examples, and then I've seen other areas where it's been an eye-opener, right?
Okay.
It's like, we've never looked at metrics like this before, or we never thought about looking at our business this way. So I think we're still kind of in that infancy of it,
okay.
in my eye, right? I don't think we're really using data to the power that it can be. And right now, what we're doing is just kind of scratching the surface. There's so much more that I'm excited to get into, and we're looking at getting into when it comes down to, how do we incorporate artificial intelligence into this?
Oh,
right?
wow.
Machine learning
Yeah.
into this.
Makes
Can
sense.
we start predicting?
Yeah.
Right? That's that future kind of, that's where I'm really excited about getting into. But to go back to your question, currently I think opportunity is the right word, and we're doing those strides with Brightree right now.
What's happening now at Brightree? Can you share anything about what you guys are doing with analytics in terms of getting us closer to what the rest of healthcare or the rest of the business world is doing?
I'd say the biggest piece that we're doing right is we really are cultivating those billions of data points that we have. So,
okay.
Really that first step that you're kind of going down this journey is to take these disparate data sources before you can run any kind of analytics or start even thinking about what algorithms can you run on it, what kind of, what's AI that you can actually incorporate in here. You need to first get all your data and put it into a central repository, that single version of the truth. So we're there, right? We've taken our data, we've distilled it up into that single version. So now we're actually going through, we're talking to industry leaders, we're talking to other HMEs, other providers out there, our own internal resources as well, and trying to find those opportunities, and then where can we fit that piece of technology in. But I think the piece that Brightree is really kind of uniquely, I like to say uniquely positioned in, is that we do have these billions of data points, right? We sit on a very large data set where it's kind of like the sky's the limit here, right? So there's some exciting things that we're working on, to say the least.
And you guys have amassed a lot of data. You guys have been doing this for what, 12, 13 years?
Yep.
And you've got a large share of the market. That's a whole lot of data that you can anonymize and then model and see what's going on.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and we're doing it today. So to your point, right, it's billions and billions of rows of data.
Wow.
And what we're doing, we do provide benchmarking around certain KPIs today. So a good example there is with resupply, right? Or and it doesn't have to just be sleep, right? It's your diabetic business, your enteral business.
Another Brightree podcast that you guys did was expanding resupply into other areas. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And we've expanded analytics into those areas as well.
Yeah.
But we're looking at providing that benchmark on there. So to your point, anonymizing the data, normalizing it to make sure we're always comparing apples to apples, and truly being able to come out and kind of touching on a point from earlier, but to show you, well, where do you stack up, right? Because now it shows you the opportunity, but it can't stop there, right? When you look at analytics, it can't stop at what's the opportunity, because that's just telling you the news, right? We want to show you and kind of lead you down the path of what's the action you can take. Where's that actionable insight you can drive? And the great thing with Brightree is we do have these other solutions that can help you achieve that, whether it's Brightree's revenue cycle management, if it's Brightree resupply, patient collections. We have the tools and the resources to help, and we also have the analytics to kind of show where that opportunity is.
Got it. And so if people want to find out more about this, where can they go, Fadi, to learn more?
You can go to Brightree.com. You can also send us an email over to leads@Brightree.com as well.
Perfect. All right. And for everybody out there in the audience, again, if you go on your phone and you open up your podcasting app and search for the HME Business Podcast, or if you go to our website, hme-business.com, you can find past podcasts, including Fadi's, where he talked about analytics, and then also the Brightree podcast where they talked about expanding resupply.
Yep.
So lots of good stuff out there from our friends at Brightree. Fadi, thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.